Shalom, shalom, and shalom, Sister Deborah. Coming this beautiful Sabbath morning with a message. Um, and this here message might require you, and it should require you to have a pen and a piece of paper so you can be able to follow along with Sister Deborah with this lesson, in this lesson. Very powerful one being so. The Holy Spirit brought it to me this morning by quickening. And when he did that, it kind of took me off. I mean, it really did, because here it go again. Another message, more knowledge increasing in this end day. And this is a really good one, and it's a powerful one, because you know how you think you know enough and you got enough to run on, and then the Holy Spirit continue to feed you as if you don't as if you don't have enough and you need more. When that's what I'm experiencing. So I know it's not just for me, it's for somebody out there who's going to need what Sister Deborah is saying in the days to come. So let's go to Genesis chapter 3 and verse 15. And I want you to understand that we're going to go over some verses in which I have already capped off. I've given you the fullness in some verses, chapter and verses. Here I want to go back to it because this is where the Ruach dropped the message in me. When you go to Genesis this morning, so let's go to Genesis chapter 3 and verse 15. In Genesis chapter 3 and verse 15, it says, "And I would put intimacy between thee and the woman." Mm, 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 mm. Between thee and the woman, and and between thy seed and her seed. You see that? Thy seed and her seed. And it shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. Okay? He's speaking of twos, y'all. He's telling Satan, thy seed. Why? Because Satan will and shall have seeds. And woman's seed is not speaking of a feminine or a, it's speaking of a feminine. No, 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 it's not. It's speaking of a spiritual seed. You're going to find that out. I'm going to give you more verses. So he's saying he's going to put intimacy between those two seeds. What two seeds are that? The serpent seed and the spiritual seed. You have to take this, what is being said, as spiritual. You have to take it and put it in a form of spiritual. So draw a box and put Genesis chapter 3, verse 15, and put spiritual. Because Genesis 3 and verse 15, you have to have the Holy Spirit to be able to see into that. He's speaking of spiritual. Okay? He's going to put intimacy between those two spiritual. Two spiritual what? Seeds. Okay? And intimacy is hate. So hate is in that box that you just created. For one to hate the other and the other to hate the other. So we're dealing with two different kind of seeds. Now, Sister Deborah was teaching you all about who holds all the seeds. You see? Who holds all the seeds? The Father wants you to know that this took place in the beginning of creation. Okay? This took place in the beginning of creation. Okay? Let us go to no, I don't even have to go here. I can just speak on it. As we talk about Cain and Abel, those are the type of seeds that he was speaking to Satan in Genesis 3 and 15. When Cain and Abel came on the scene, were brought on the scene. Let me go there. Let's go to Genesis chapter 4. And let's go to verse 1 and 2. Genesis chapter 4, verse 1 and 2. And Adam knew Eve, his wife. When it says knew, they had sexual contact with one another. And she conceived and bare Cain and said, I have gotten a man from Yah. Okay. Verse 2. And again, and she again bare his brother Abel. Now you notice here it didn't say Adam knew Eve. See, that's what people don't get here. You see? Adam knew Eve. But she again bared his brother Abel. So when they say again, bared, I'm looking at what happened to Adam knowing Eve again, and she bared. That's the mystery. And I think only the Strohs can tell the story, because man ain't going to do it. Man ain't going to tell it right. So here in verse 2, it says, and she again bared his brother Abel. And Abel was a keeper of the sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. Now, Cain killed his brother for no reason. But there was a reason. There was a reason that was called out in Genesis 3 and 15. And it's called intimacy. I will put intimacy between your seed, the serpent seed, and the spiritual seed. It was hate. He had no reason to kill his brother outside of what was said in Genesis 3 and 15, the word hate. Okay? So there it shows you how two coming to the earth, two males, two working, two has a purpose, two are laboring, but one is for what? One seed, and the other one is for what? Another seed. You see? That's who we are. We either one or the other. Okay? And 99.1 trillion wouldn't figure out that they are either one or the other. And they are to hate one another. You see? That's why I tell you, I'm not moved by deleting people or letting people go on and seeing to it that they move on. I don't have no problem with that. You see? Because you can, now I ain't gonna say you can, but when the spirit of the creator give you the gift of discerning, you need to hold firm to it. Use it because it's given to you to use for the journey. That's another thing a lot of people have problems using the gift or the gifts for the mission. It's not for you to play with. It's not for you to boast in. It's not for you to swing all over the place. It's for you to use for the journey in which you're running in, meaning in the race itself. You need those gifts. That's why they are given unto you to support what Yah send you down here to do. Okay? So when you get to the next level of seeds, I end up with Abraham. Abraham having two sons, Ishmael and Isaac. When we know how the Most High felt about Abraham, and in spite of how much the Most High felt about Abraham, the Most High wasn't going to allow Ishmael to be in the midst of Abraham's life. Y'all knew the seed. Y'all knew the seed. I think I'm going to name this here book, this here message, The Seed. Y'all knew the seed. See, while we're down here thinking it's about what we've been taught and deceived to believe, Yah is not pouring out spirit and truth amongst those individuals because he knows what seed reside there in them. You see? And I even think of that. I think of my first page has 2,000 videos. That's enough to run on with. And then you think about the videos that you're actually putting up. Who is the message really for? The one who knows. No, they don't know. A lot of them might not know it, but they are the spirit ones. They are the seed of the spirit. They are the one that are sent down here by the Most High Yah as his servant. You see? Those videos are for them. And because he said narrow is the gate that leads to the right way, he's telling us up front, Deborah, no matter how many videos you have, no matter how you're able to break down based on everything I feed you from the inside, the gate gonna remain narrow. The gate shall remain narrow because he has spoken it unto the spiritual ones, that the gate will be narrow, and very few shall go in and find. Okay? So with Abraham, it was Ishmael and it was Isaac. So then you had Adam. Then you had Adam with Cain and Abel. One was the serpent seed, one was the spiritual seed. Then you had Abraham with Isaac and Jacob. One was the spiritual seed and one was the serpent seed. See, he knows what he's doing. He know exactly what he's done. So it ain't so much as he's doing it, he done it already. We have been divided based on who we are from the kingdom, from the throne of the Most High. We have been divided, one going here and one going here. And guess what? You don't have a choice in the matter. He knows who he sent down here because he knows who he was dealing with from the beginning, before the foundation of the world. So you got serpent seeds and you got spiritual seeds, okay? Guess what that leads me to understand? And like I told you, I am a prophetess in the wilderness. I'm taught by the Ruach HaKodesh. And as you know by now, those who have followed me for quite some time, you know that Sister Deborah says it all the time. I don't know everything. Give or take from 100%, I hold firm to 20. That's it. The other 80, I don't know nothing. Okay? And that's for real. But in what I know it from the inside. Who reside in me, who comfort me, who teaches me all things. That's the level of knowing. And what I'm about to share to you is something that's off the chain. I just heard in Genesis chapter 3 and verse 15 how Yah, which the world called God, has warned us from the beginning that there's two entities that's coming down on the earth. And these entities are seeds of the serpent or seeds of the spirit. Okay? Now, here we go. In this, you see Adam, seed of Canaan, and then you see Abel. I didn't see where it says Adam knew Eve and she had again Abel. It just says she buried Abel. So that there is a mystery to me too. It also lets you understand how much smearing man's hands has been in the book. Okay? But I can guarantee you, if you were able to know what the Strolls were saying, you have or if you had it, what was in the Strolls, you would know that all the lies that has been placed in the book that we and many other religions have followed throughout time. Okay? So you need the Holy Spirit from within to teach, lead, and guide you. Now, we on Abraham. Abraham had Ishmael and Isaac. One was the spiritual seed and one was the serpent seed. They weren't both spiritual seed. What do you mean by that? Only one represent the Most High. Okay? The other one represent another end. And you can actually say one is the serpent seed and one is the spiritual seed. The same thing he said in Genesis chapter 3 and verse 15. Okay? And as you go all the way down, you'll notice that we battled always with two. Not three, not four, but two. Okay? The battle have always been either spiritual seed or either serpent seed. Okay? Now, I want you all to kind of stay with me here. Okay? Let's go to the Gospel of John. Let's go to the Gospel of John. The Gospel of John, chapter 8. The Gospel of John, chapter 8, and verse 12. In the Gospel of John, chapter 8, and verse 12, okay, it reads, Then spoke, I'm going to speak it, I'm going to read it from the King James Bible. Then spoke Jesus again unto them, saying, I am the light of the world. He that follow me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life. The light of life. Notice what was said in the Gospel of John, chapter 8, and verse 12. Something else was said to separate the twos. He separated the twos by saying, I am the light of the world. He that follows me shall not walk in what? Darkness. So he set the pace here so you know the difference and know what light represents. And he says, but shall have light of life. So he's letting you know that there are those who's going to walk in the light, and those who are going to walk in the darkness. There go the twos. This is in the Gospel of John, chapter 8, verse 12. He's separating the light from the darkness. One is the spiritual light. The other one is the darkness. We still dealing with the serpent seed in Genesis 3 and 15 and the woman seed, which is the spiritual seed. Okay? He's speaking of the spiritual seed and the natural seed. One is going to walk in darkness, which is the natural, which is the serpent seed. And then there's the spiritual seed who's going to walk in what? Light. They're going to separate the two. What we do on the earth is we reject the idea of the twos. Even when it come down to our babies, when it come down to our mother and our fathers, our sisters and our brothers, our cousins, our uncles, our aunts, our grandpa, our grandma, our husband, our wife, our fiance, we tend to separate the two. No, we don't separate two. We tend to put the both together and not realize that heavens has already separated us before we got down here. He had already separated us before we got down here as one that's in the dark versus one that's in the light. Same thing what is said in Genesis chapter 3 and 15, separating the two. He put intimacy between the two. We're going somewhere with this. Okay? So there you see it says that the Gospel of John chapter 8 and verse 12, and Jesus again said again unto them, saying, then spoke Jesus again unto them, saying, I am the light of the world. I like to reverse out of Jesus, and I like to say, then said Yeshua again unto them, saying, I am the light of the world. See? And he that follow me shall not walk in darkness. See, darkness is actually in the world and is the world. He's letting you know, but if you walk with him, you are the light. He's separating the dark from the light, just as Genesis chapter 3 and verse 15. Separate the serpent seed from the spiritual seed. So we're going somewhere with this. Separate Cain from Abel. Separate Ishmael from Isaac. You see? Okay. So let's continue. Let's go to the stay with John, the Gospel of John, chapter 3. Let's go to chapter 3. The Gospel of John, chapter 3. And let's go to verse 3. The Gospel of John, chapter 3, and verse 3. In the Gospel of John, chapter 3, and verse 3, it says, Yeshua answered and said unto him, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of Yah. Let me read that again. Yeshua answered and said unto him, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of Yah. Okay, let's get this understanding of a man be born again. Okay? A lot of people don't really understand that when the kingdom, before heaven and earth was even created, the kingdom of heaven had already decided to slaughter the lamb before the foundation of the world. So the lamb had a reason to be slaughtered before the foundation of the world. So before this here earth was here, the lamb was already slaughtered there. Then you have to understand what was the purpose. The lamb was given the mission in the kingdom to come and redeem back the ones that came down, they got lost. That's what they're calling born again. That's what Christ did. Redeem us back to the bosom of the Most High, where we come from. Those are the seeds of the Spirit. What happened to us? We got down here with the earth, with darkness, wicked, and we began to cut up from the floor and began to take on the trait of darkness. Our light was out. We took on darkness. So that's why he had a ram. You know how Sister Deborah always tell you? He always got a ram in the bush. He had a ram in the bush before Abraham was going to sacrifice Isaac. The ram was already in the bush to be sacrificed. It's telling you that Yah always got the plan in the right hand. In the heavens, the lamb was already sacrificed to come to redeem us back where the Most High knew we would get off and be lost. That's what Christ was all about. But before Christ can redeem us back to and use all that the Father was and is, Yeshua had to shed the blood to remove the sin. And he couldn't come to the earth and remove the blood of those that's only going to be redeemed. That's how righteous the Father is. He said, oh no, you're going to come down and remove everybody's sin. And when you move everybody's sin, Christ's going to pick up and redeem all the ones that came from me, from the kingdom, as spiritual seeds back unto me. That's why it's important for you to understand the death, what it was for, the burial, what it was for, and the resurrection. You miss it if you don't know the three. And how can one know the three? Through the Spirit that teaches us from the inside. He get it right in us. Okay? So that's what has happened when you run and you think that earth ruled the kingdom. No. The earth got everyone deceived that it rules everything. That's how I can actually say that Satan has truly deceived the world. Why? Because I'm in the world right now. I'm not of it, but I'm in it. I'm not of it, but I'm in it. I'm not of it, but I'm in it. I can tell somebody something. That's the one that can tell you something. Someone that's not of it, but in it. You see? That serves the Most High Yah. That knows their purpose, their mission in the body of what the world called Christ, but in the body of Hamashiach. Same thing. You see? So what we just heard in the Gospel of John, chapter 3, this is how we were redeemed back. It says in the Gospel of John, chapter 3, and verse 3, Yeshua answered and said unto him, verily, he said, verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of Yah. He can't see it. Because being born again is the gift itself, y'all. It's raining outside. Being born again is the most powerful gift on the earth. Because that means that the Messiah died for your sin. 3 days later, he rose, and death couldn't keep you in the grave like it couldn't keep him, because you're not going to the grave, because Christ risen up out of the grave, Yeshua, from death, and redeemed back all the spiritual seeds back to the bosom of the Father. And guess what? Can't nobody do nothing about it. Because being redeemed was what Christ did, who came to help Yeshua. See, Yeshua is Jesus, as the world calls it. But don't forget, you're not of the world. You're in it, but you're not of it. So you also have to be able to take on what was his name before the world called him Jesus. What was his name before the world said Christ? So you go into it and you realize when it was Yeshua HaMashiach. So when you understand who HaMashiach is, that's what the world called Christ. Christ is the power, the word, and the spirit of the Father. He came down to help the Son of Man, okay, to complete this mission. That's how the Son of Man risen, because Christ entered in the 3 days, held back death. Woo! Praise the mighty Yah. Came up out of the grave. Ooh-wee, Father, I got chills. Just that thought. See how I never thought of it like that. I never thought of it like that. Now I know Hamashiach, which the world called Christ, went to the grave with Yeshua after he allowed him to remain on the cross as the Son of Man. See, he can't help him. See, the Father ain't gonna help. Now, it ain't that he can't, but it's the plan was him not to assist Yeshua on the cross, because the cross had to pay the penalty for all our ugly sin, to infinity, y'all. That's what, see, y'all thinking he paid the price for all of our sins just for that moment. No, he paid the price for all of our sin when he went down. But he didn't go, when he went down, when he died by himself. That's why we needed to understand and respect the barrier. Oh, the death was for the blood sacrifice, for the forgiveness of all mankind's sin. But the barrier was the preparation where Christ entered into Yeshua, okay, had the power to I want to say defeat. It ain't wasn't no defeat because it wasn't no fight. Had the power to rest in the grave with Yeshua. And this is the purpose of why death was destroyed. Because when Christ risen, rest in the grave with Yeshua, raised Yeshua up, what happened to death? 3 days, come on now. He showed us how death can't hold the power of who the Father is. He risen the Son of Man back up from death. That's why he say, we too die with Christ, and we shall be risen with him. Because you got to understand the death, burial, and the resurrection. The mystery that rests even within it lets you know that it's bigger than just the death. It's bigger than just the burial. The resurrection is off the chain. Because it shows you who rules life and death. He showed us who ruled life and death. See, people didn't know when he sent Christ to assist Yeshua, which the world called Jesus. They was coming as a oneness. And that's why I say we missed the oneness, y'all, in Genesis, the beginning. Everything is supposed to run into a oneness. But we missed it. And that's even in people's family now. Everybody is into wanting to make the picture as a oneness in the flesh. But they don't understand the oneness has to be those who are in the spirit in the family, not those who are in the flesh. You see? The oneness has to be in the spirit. And the oneness that are in the flesh, they are to be together. But those that are in the spirit are to be a oneness. But they fight each other. Why? They got their eyes and they are meditated. They are meditating on the ones that are the serpent seed in the family, to where they get confused. They don't understand that he said, I come to bring the sword between mother and father. He's letting you know the sword is not between just a mother and a father because they are mother and father. He's talking about if the mother is the serpent seed and the father is the spiritual seed, when I'm here, I am. I'm coming to bring the division. If the father is the serpent seed and the mother is the spiritual seed, hey, I'm coming to bring the sword. I'm bringing the sword. If the children are the serpent seed and the ones that are the spiritual seed, I'm coming to bring the division. I'm coming to bring the sword. Because I don't want my spiritual ones connecting in the flesh or in the natural with the serpent seed ones, where all of them come from a man's scrotum. That's where all the seeds come from. So I believe that man has escaped the whole created mission from Genesis 1. They have escaped it. Why would you say that, Deborah? Because they have no idea that what they see in the world is what they created. Not that what they created, what they had in their womb. So they have to have some sort of liability. They're not going to do that. They're not going to ever come to that realm of understanding or accepting that, because they have believed the deception. Satan found the weaker link, and the weaker link were men, and they had the men to make you think that the woman was the weaker link. No. Have y'all heard where I think it was Paul was talking about if you don't deal with her as the weaker link, then he won't hear your prayers. Have you heard of that? Telling men, well, why won't y'all listen to your prayers if you don't deal with woman as the weaker link? What do that have to do with prayer? Prayer is spiritual. dealing with her as the weaker link, what does that mean? That's natural. And it can be spiritual, because the weaker link can be the truth of the whole matter, and not let her take on what you were called or created to take on. And this is why women don't understand why men holds the title as leadership. Shouldn't he be leading what he got in his scrotum? He lead his private area, don't he? Wherever he wanted to be. So what is it with the seeds that you hold in your womb? Why you ain't leading them? Why you ain't guiding them? Why you ain't showing them the way to righteous? Do you see how big the ball has been dropped since the beginning of Genesis? But you can lead your private area. Oh, you can lead that everywhere you want to go, everywhere you want it to go. You lead it, and you do what you got to do with it. But what about the living that's in your scrotum, in your learn, in your womb? What about all those living in there? Why ain't you leading them when they come out as human beings? Why ain't you leading them? Why ain't you feeding them? Why ain't you taking care of them? You take care of yourself when it come down. You see the sickness in the darkness, and how men was always the weaker link. What do you mean when you say they was the weaker link? They are the weaker link when it come down to spirit. They are the weaker link based on how Satan uses them. He uses them to successfully deceive the whole world. He used men. He did it. They are the weaker link. And he knew who would be the real weaker link. And he chose it. Did he know the fullness of the Father's order? No. He had no idea. Satan had no idea the fullness of the creation of Yah's order. But he found it out. Who was the weak link? That's the one he deceived. He found out who was carrying the seeds. Because the one that was carrying the seeds were the weaker link. Okay, so here we go in the Gospel of John, chapter 3, and verse 5 and 6. In the Gospel of John, chapter 3, verse 5 and 6, it says, "Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born of water and of the Spirit." That's the born again. What happened? He redeemed you back. You're the redeemed ones. Okay? He cannot enter into the kingdom of Yah. Verse 6. Let me see, was that right? Verse 6. That which is born of the flesh is flesh. That means those that are born of the flesh is flesh. They come here to live out their flesh, and their flesh only. Okay? And that which is born of the Spirit is spirit. They come out here to live out the Spirit that is going to be born in them. You see? Why? Because they're being redeemed back. They came here as the spiritual ones, but they had to be redeemed back because they got off onto the dark side, and he had to send what he prepared before the foundation of the world, which was the lamb, the sacrifice, the redeemer, to redeem them back to where they came from. And those were the spiritual seeds. So we're dealing with two type of people on the earth. One that is of darkness, and one that is of light. The same as one that is the spiritual seed and one that is the serpent seed. They're the same thing. The serpent seed is the dark one. The spiritual seed is the light one. Another example is right here in verse 6. The Gospel of John, chapter 3, and verse 6. That which is born of the flesh is flesh, and that which is born of the Spirit is spirit. There go two more different ones. Same category. You got to learn to put the two. And I guess that's what I talk about I go 7 p.m. Central Time today. I would talk about the side of the dark and the side of the light. Let's talk about that today. Let's make a topic about the side of the dark versus the side of the light. Now, where I'm going with this, and I am going, is what he taught me this morning. He said, Deborah, the whole purpose of Satan coming down, that devil, it was not what man really painted the picture for it to be. When Yeshua spoke of it, he was just giving it to them as a parable. But what they didn't get was deception, deceive. That is the biggest thing on the face of the earth that the serpent uses to have and get his way. Okay? When you go to the Matthew's chapter 24, you can see it right there, clearly seen. Matthew's 24. In Matthew's chapter 24 and verse 5. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 5. Yeshua, which the world called Jesus, is now on Mount Olive. And he's speaking privately with his disciples. And the disciples want to know, they ask the question, what should be the coming and the signs of the coming and of the end of the world? So I like the way Yeshua stepped into the disciples this day. But I was confused, and the Holy Spirit taught me what it was all about. I was confused because I'm like, why would they be worried about today? What are they worried about today? They're not going to be here. So why would they want to know what the coming and what it's going to be like at the end? You know, in me, I'm like, he says, so they can relay it, Deborah, as time go on. They can note what I told them. Okay? So that's good and dandy. But what about somebody like me, Father, who's going to be here? He said, what that also shows you is that you're here working with the multitude of people. Okay? And it was already said back in the ancient times, just about. But it's already said. So you're relaying it today, something that's been present all the time, and they still don't get it. And I said that makes a lot of sense. So therefore, the purpose of the disciples were to not only answer their question of the end, so that you would know what the end still going to remain, and it's still going to be, and you can relay it. It's like the race and handing the baton to the next runner, and just going after the win. So the win, like to win, the finish line. So here, when you go to Matthew's chapter 24, the disciples is asking them what was going to be the time, what was going to be like at the coming or the end of the world. Something he said that still helps me a great deal in all of my teachings or all of my speaking is what he said here. And Yeshua answered, we in Matthew's chapter 24 and verse 4. And Yeshua answered and said unto him, take heed that no man deceive you. That's it. There it is, y'all. Why? Why was it that simple? He fell right back on them. They asking him for what the time is going to be in the future. He fell back on them. Wait a minute, hold up. Let me tell y'all something right now. Don't be deceived. Why? Because the only purpose Satan come down to have power over was to deceive. Deceive. To deceive. To deceive. And what Sister Deborah tell y'all today? From the level of the wilderness, from what I could see, he has truly, successfully, and done a great job deceiving the whole world. What do you mean? If I say that the Most High sunned me down, foreknew me, predestined me, ordained me to come down here to be a prophetess in the wilderness, I have to have enough respect that Satan himself was not tossed or brought to the earth to play with us. How would I say, games? He came to do what he came down to do. Even he had a purpose from the kingdom. His purpose were, his position were, his job were to deceive the whole world. And he has successfully done that. With the thanks to you all in the world, who still today support him and his seeds in continuing to hold, how would I say, the trophy of deceiving the world. He's holding the trophy. I have deceived the whole world. And as I say, as a prophetess in the wilderness, yes, he has successfully deceived the whole world. Okay? So, here in Matthew's chapter 24, when Yeshua is about to explain to the disciples what will be the end days, first and foremost, he had to stop. He said, before I say anything, don't you all be deceived. Why? Because at that moment, he wanted them to understand the deception and deceit, being deceived, is greater than anything you want to know for the end days. That's what he was telling them. And I believe it or not, somebody out there is being awakened. I mean, what you mean spiritually awakened. Because that's what he's saying. Because I'm like saying, but they didn't ask you. That's not what they asked Yeshua. They didn't ask you that. They asked you for the coming. What will be the coming or the end days? He didn't give them that first. He gave them the fact that don't you be deceived. Why? Because while I'm giving you what's going to happen in the end days, I want you to know deception is now. Woo! Being deceived is now. So let me tell y'all 12 or y'all 11 or the disciples that he was speaking to. Don't you be deceived. So I say today, Sister Deborah, in this midnight hour in which we are in, the greatest thing that I can give you as far as how to step into and look forward to the spirit and truth is being not deceived. And this is where knowledge come in, that was going to come in the end days. Knowledge shall increase. It's going to be spiritual. Why? Because it helps you not to be deceived. Because that's the biggest thing on the earth. We as people have been deceived by everything: politics, government, elites, the world, the world rulers have told us we believe everything. Their media, we believe everything they put out, everything they give us in books. We read these books and it's all form of a deception. The same reason why Yeshua told the disciples, They asked him one thing, he told them another. I, Sister Deborah, put that before you today. Be not deceived. Before I can give anything, that should be the number one thing I should give you, or I should put out to you every time I'm making a video. Be not deceived. Can you still continue to be deceived? Not if the light is turned on. And you have awakening because the light is so bright. It's time to wake up. Go in the direction to the light. Don't continue to walk in darkness. So I say unto you here, Yeshua is saying to his disciples, be not deceived. Watch this here. He's letting them know. To be not deceived is the key to the end, as it is to them at that moment. Why? Because Satan is the deceiver. Now, I've been battling this and I battle it because of knowing that nobody else knows it. That's where the battle is at. That's where the long suffering and the endurance with this sister here. That's my greatest thing. And that's me. It's because it's not that I'm battling the Father. I'm battling the spiritual realm. I'm battling the light. Oh, no, I embrace that. I salute that. I'm all for that. That's the number one. It's to know that you got to sit amongst a world that have been deceived with so much bright light, so much spirit and truth. But you have to sit amongst them. Do you speak of it? Yes. Yes. And what he shared with me was what I questioned him years ago. Why is it people always saying the devil made me do it? Satan caused me to do it. They blame Satan, demons, and everything else for the way they are thinking, the way they're feeling, the way they're conducting themselves, the way they're acting. They blame the devil. But when we give y'all something, I'm going to give you a little of it. You know what he told me this morning? Let me go on there. Let me go where he told me. Okay. Let's go to the Gospel of John, chapter 10 and verse 10. The Gospel of John, chapter 10 and verse 10, and it reads. The Gospel of John, chapter 10 and verse 10, and it reads. The thief cometh not, but for to steal and to kill and to destroy. I am come that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly. As I was reading this, I realized that it started in the Gospel of John with verse 6. It started at verse 1, but he was giving them parables. He was giving them parables. And that parable right there, let's see how he gave them the parable. Let's go to the Gospel of John, chapter 10 and verse 6. And it says, this parable, Yeshua, until them. But they understood not what thing they which he spoke unto them. Same thing today. Same thing today. I'm sitting here right now finna give you something you ain't never had. And I already can feel that I'm finna give it to you. And you're not going to understand it. Okay? So what I'm saying here is, follow with me. Watch this here. In the Gospel of John, chapter 10, verse 6, we're going to read down. It says, this parable spoke Yeshua unto them, but they understood not what thing they were they were which he spoke unto them. So they understood not. Watch this here. Now he finna go another route. Then Yeshua said unto them again. See that word again? He's giving them another parable. Then Yeshua said to them again, he finna route another parable. And we know the parables was for the multitude. And the word was for the disciples. There go the twos. The multitudes got parables, but the word was given to the spiritual ones, which were the disciples. You see? So watch this. So it says in verse 7, the Gospel of John, chapter 10 and verse 7. Then said Yeshua unto them again, Verily, verily, I say unto you, I am the door of the sheep. All that ever came before me are thieves and robbers, and the sheep did not hear them. I am the door. By me, if any man enter in, he shall be saved, and shall go in and out, and find pasture. Verse 10, he says, the thief cometh not, but to steal, kill, and destroy. I am come that they might have life, and that they might have it abundantly. You know how Sister Deborah keep telling you, have the light in your right hand. See, y'all be thinking I be just talking. Look at all those 2,000 videos. See, I've been expressing spirit and truth all the time. But because y'all had designed a narrow gate where very few shall enter in and find, that it doesn't interfere with 2,000 videos, but what it does is allow the videos to be there for those who are walking in the narrow gate. How about that? How about that? It's not videos that's going to capture those who's in the broad gate, because the narrow is the way. It leads to what is righteous. It leads you to the way in the bosom of the Father. And very few, he said, shall find it. So it's a way that needs to be found. And how do you find it? The light. You know how Sister Deborah keep telling you the light? And it's not the type of light that you can go get a flashlight or a light, or because you in the flash you think you can find. No, it ain't that type of light where you think you in full control. It's a spiritual light. And it's not something you pick up. It's something the spirit of the Creator has given us. The light. Okay? So he says here, verse 10, the thief cometh not but to steal, kill, and destroy. I cometh that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly. Okay? Now, let's stay there. Right there, he's letting you know that this is the light, okay, of life. It's the light. Where was I at? I'm trying to figure out. I'm kind of. And I am the door, verse 9. Okay, and the thief cometh not but but for to steal and to kill and to destroy. Oh, here it is. I come that they might have life. Okay, and that they might have it more abundantly. Okay, and then verse 11, no, it's not, that's not what I'm going down to verse 11. Okay, that's not my verse then. That's not it. Yeah, that's not my verse where the light is at. So here he's already saying that the thief cometh not but to steal, kill, and destroy. Stop. That saying alone, the world has captured. And they have labeled Satan to be the one that kills, steal, and destroy. Okay? They have labeled him as the kill, steal, and destroy. And then when I did the search, I said, but Father, there's nothing calling him that. So how did we do this? How did we label Satan to kill, steal, and destroy? When you even warn the disciples not of being kill, steal, and destroy, but being deceived. As I spoke to you all in the last two videos, Satan's position is like purpose and like designed to deceive the whole world. Man has done something even extra by adding on to help us to be deceived. Because we say when Satan is here to kill, steal, and destroy, don't forget, Yeshua said that I give them parables because they see but cannot see. They hear but cannot hear. You see? And he told the disciples, I give you the word. So right here, he's giving this example to the multitude. A parable. This is a parable. This is not saying this is Satan. This is saying a parable of a parable of what? A robber or a thief. They come in, a robber or a thief, they come in to steal, kill, and destroy. How did that alone get sealed to Satan? Get sealed to the devil? How was that placed around the neck of Satan? And he's called the devil as well. How did I want y'all to just look at it. This is a parable. And he said in look at the Gospel of John chapter 10 and verse 7. Let's start there. He said, he gave them a parable. Now he finna give them another one. Listen to how he said, verse 7. Then said Yeshua unto them again. So he's talking to the same multitude again. He's giving them another parable. Verily, verily, I say unto you, I am the door of the sheep. Okay? All that ever came before me are the thieves and the robbers. Okay? But the sheep did not hear them. Okay? I am the door, but by me, if any man enter in, he shall be saved and shall go in and out and find pasture. Verse 10, the thief cometh not, but for to steal, kill, and destroy. I am come that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly. This is why the Father warned us that we fight not against the flesh and blood, but principality in high places. He's letting us know that the flesh is fighting the flesh when the real battle is in the spirit. Here, the Father is showing me that this parable, they took it and they labeled Satan as kill, steal, and destroy. Yes, he did. He showed me where Satan was his only purpose were to deceive the whole world. Deception. He said, that's why I only warned the 12 disciples in Matthew 24. And Matthew 24 and verse 3, I think it was. He said, be not deceived. I say unto thee, be not deceived. That's the main kicker, you guys, is being deceived. And I, Sister Deborah, as a prophetess in the wilderness, I can see it so clear. The deception of being deceived is so high amongst the world. They rather be deceived and keep it going the wicked way. And that's what I see. Even on all these platforms, people are being deceived, telling people that, okay, you put this on your hair, it'll grow. You put this on your skin, it'll be better. You put this on your neck, it'll be like this. You eat this herb, it'll do this. You use this for parasite. These platforms are geared to deceive many. And then when the Father allowed me to get onto the devil's platform, I come to bring the light. I come to bring spirit and truth in the end days. And what must I do? I must endure. I must long suffer. Why? Because you're coming in the area where already the people have been deceived. So in it, hopefully, there's a light. Even if it's a pin needle light, the light in which you bring before them and to them would brighten the pin needle light that they have within. Okay? So, that shows you right there that the purpose of Satan was to deceive. And I'm going to show you, and I'm going to nail this at the end. Now, let's go to Revelation chapter 12. We're going to go to Revelation chapter 12. Revelation chapter 12. Now watch this. Revelation chapter 12 and verse 9. And the great dragon was cast out, and that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth. You see that? Deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angel cast out with him. So what does that tell me? That Satan's purpose on the earth were to deceive us. Deceive. It wasn't to kill, steal, and destroy. It was to deceive us. Now, let's go to Isaiah 14. Isaiah 14 and verse 12 and 13. Isaiah 14 and verse 12 through 13. And it reads, therefore will Isaiah chapter 14 and verse 12 and 13. Isaiah chapter 14 verse 12 and 13. Verse 12 says, how are thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How are thou cut down to the ground, which did it away, which did it weaken the nations? He's weakened the nations. How did he do that? By deception, deceiving. He which did it weaken the nation. How did he do that? By deceiving them. Let's go on. Verse 13. For thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend into the heavens. I will exalt my throne above the stars of Yah. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the side of the north. So he lets you know. He sits here in the United States of America. That's where he resides. And he telling you he got a seat here. That's what the north is. But he's only deceiving the congregation. His whole ideal is to deceive. Now let's go to Revelation chapter 12 and verse 12. Revelation chapter 12 and verse 12. Let's go there. Revelation chapter 12 and verse 12, and we're going to move on down. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth, and to the sea. For see, so he letting you know Satan is dealing with the earth and the sea. Okay? For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time. Now he's showing you right here, woe unto the inhabitants of the earth, those who live in the earth, and what else? And that which live in the sea. So the difference is that is where that marine. They talk about the marine, letting you know that Satan got authority in the sea. Okay, and on the earth, those who inhabit the earth, and those who are in the sea. Okay, and what it says, woe into the inhabitor. Let me clear that up. I got to clear that up, y'all. Let me go back. Because the Spirit is talking to me. Revelation chapter 12, verse 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, for ye that dwell in them, in the heavens. Woe to the inhabitants. The inhabitants are those who are on the earth, and that which is in the sea. Okay? That which is on the earth, reside on the earth, and that which is in the sea. For Satan, the devil, is come down unto you, having great wrath. Is it telling you anything? That he come to destroy, kill, steal, and destroy? No, it ain't. It's telling you he have great wrath, because he knoweth that he has put but a short time. And when the dragon saw that he was cast into the earth, he prosecuted the woman which brought forth the man child. The woman that brought forth the man child, he prosecuted the woman which brought forth the man child. Verse 14. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, unto her place where she is nourished for a time and a half a time from the face of the serpent. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. We still got to understand this woman is representing the spiritual seeds. She's still representing the spiritual seeds. Okay, but you notice it's not saying what Satan is doing. It's just saying in verse 14, and to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place where she is nourished for a time and a half a time from the face of the serpent. Verse 15. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. Okay? Why is that? In the top, in verse 12, it tells you that he has something to do with the sea. His wrath. He come. Woe to is woe mean warning us that's on the earth and that which is in the sea, that Satan come down unto you having great wrath. So here you see where the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. So it's showing you that somewhere the sea Satan has connection to. Woo-wee. Verse 16. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened up her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the serpent cast out of his mouth. Verse 17. And the dragon was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed. You see, it's the spiritual seed. It's the spiritual one. But what do you see here? The remnant. War with the remnant of her seed. The ones that's left. Okay? Which kept the commandments of Yah and have the testimony of Yeshua. It was the remnant seed that he was after all the time. And that's the spiritual seed. But Satan we've given him too much glory. We've given him too much praise. Heaven has not given him that. We as human beings, flesh, men, women, we have given Satan too much power that does not give him power. But we created this power for him, and we don't understand what is really going on. And I'm going to lay it on y'all. It's going to blow your mind. You're going to find out why we were so wrong in what we've been believing. Now watch this here. Now that was in Revelation. Let's go to Luke, the book of Luke, chapter 22. And I'm going somewhere with this. In the book of Luke, chapter 22 and 31. Now in Revelation chapter 12, verse 12 through 17, you will notice that Satan didn't have the power to kill, steal, and destroy. Just think. Yah never gave life and death over to Satan. Even to his own seed, he still can't have life and death over it. You see what I'm saying? He did not give him power to kill, steal, and destroy. Like he can just go around killing, stealing, and destroy. No, he was never given that. He was given the power to deceive. And that's a heavy power there. To deceive the whole world. Why is that so heavy? Because Yeshua warned the disciples. The 12 disciples, he warned them on Mount Olive. No matter what's going to be at the end, he said, let me tell you one thing. Don't be deceived. And that's today. That's why Sister Deborah can actually say Satan has truly deceived the whole world. Because we thinking he's all that and some. He come down to those who inhabit the earth and the sea. And he's angry. But you won't see where Yah translated or transferred any power to him to do anything, as we has believed all these thousands of years he had the power over this. And he has not. And I'm going to show you where it's at. And a lot of y'all have no idea. Luke chapter 22 and verse 31. In Luke chapter 22 and verse 31, it says, so likewise ye, when ye see these things come to pass, know ye that the kingdom of Yah is nigh. Okay, so I'm somewhere in the wrong place. I'm sorry. I got Luke 21. I got to go to Luke 22. In the book of Luke, chapter 22 and verse 31. And it says, and the Lord said, Simon, 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 behold, Satan has desired to have you, that he may sniff you as wheat. That he may sniff you as wheat. You see that? He's telling, Yeshua is telling this to Peter, Simon Peter, that Satan's desire to have you, that he may sniff you as wheat. And let's go to verse 32. But I have prayed for thee, that thy faith fail not. And when thou art converted, strengthen thy brethren. See the converted? What's the converted mean? The death, burial, and resurrection. The resurrection redeems us back. But Satan wants to sniff him out. He wants Peter. But Yeshua is telling him, but I pray for thee that thy faith fail not. Notice how he said, I pray for thee. When if you the Father and you praying for Peter, what does that say about the Father if you're supposed to be the Father? You see, it don't make sense, do it? But I have prayed for thee. Who did you pray for? Peter. And who did you pray to? The Father. But they say you are the Father. You see? That thy faith fail not. And when thou art converted, strengthen thy brethren. You remember he told Peter, feed my sheep 3 times to unlock the 3 curses. And here's it also where he says, strengthen my brethren. Okay, where Peter's mission was to still yet speak words to strengthen the other 12 and others in where he was mission. But it shows you right here, when thou art converted. See, the conversion, being converted didn't take place until the resurrection. You see? He had to, the death, burial, and resurrection have to take place. That's why he's telling him, when thou art converted. Because Satan want to sniff you out right now. Right now he wants you. And that's what Yeshua is sitting here saying in verse 31. Satan has desire to have you. It's just a desire. Satan can't have like he got power to just get what he wants. He didn't have that. We gave that to him. And he still don't have it, even though we gave it to him, and we still give it to him by the matter of deception. We teach people that Satan got this power to do all this. But I learned something different today, y'all. Something I never knew in all my 60 some odd years. I didn't know it. So let's go to 1 Peter. First Peter. Chapter 8. First Peter chapter 8. Be sober and vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he can devour. Now, I wanted to see, and I noticed they said devour. I just want to run this here. Devour in Hebrew. Okay, we got it here. Let's see. Bought, eat, devour, bought, and eat, devour. But where in that do you see kill, steal, and destroy? It was only a parable given to the multitude. Satan does not have the ability to have the power to do what we're actually seeing on earth. There's something else here. Something else is going on. Because if you look at 1 Peter chapter 5 verse 8, be sober, vigilant, because the adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. And you look up devour, you can see in Hebrew, it means bought, bought, eaten, maliciously accused. He's the accuser. We gave him what he needed to master the position he came down here to master. He only came to deceive the whole world. Yeshua didn't warn the disciples of nothing outside of being deceived. And we know who the deceiver is. Let me go to Luke 22 and let me just see what this said. And I'm going to go on and sum this up. What I'm getting, who is this? Luke 22 and verse 52. Let me see just what this is saying. Okay. No, that doesn't answer what I'm looking for. It's something that I'm missing here. Uh, so, okay. No, I already did that. So, what I'm being shown by the Most High is Satan holds the powerful position here on earth as a deceiver. Satan holds the most powerful position here on the earth. And that's what Yeshua was warning his disciples back in Matthew 24. Be not deceived. If you could take who Satan is and see what the word deception and deceive really is consisted of, you can see how he did it. Deceive the whole world. But there's something's wrong somewhere. Satan being able to master his position to deceive the world, he needed the flesh to assist him in deceiving the world. Satan could not deceive the world because he's a spirit. So he needed flesh to deceive the world, to prepare the world, that he may deceive the world. See, he needed the seeds of a man to deceive the world. And those seeds were his seeds that heaven had given him. So he took those seeds And all he wanted was to deceive the whole world, because now he has mastered the position in which he was kicked down here to master. See, a lot of people don't understand. He wasn't given the authority as we've been lied to believe. When I see in there, when a thief come in to a house to kill, steal, and destroy, that's given a parable. And Yeshua was given a parable to the multitude. So that parable is not saying that the one that comes into the house to kill, steal, and destroy is Satan himself. So who is this coming in the house to kill, steal, and destroy? Man. He's the robber. He's the thief of the parable. We've been bypassing the one who made it possible for Satan to deceive the whole world. And in that, they got away with on the four corners of the world, controlling the four corners, because they mastered it. First and foremost, I can now see how they dipped into the powers that's unseen. I can see it now. They reason with the unseen power to gain the power that they've gained on the earth to control, manipulate, kill, steal on the earth. The role Satan plays in is deceiving the whole world. So for him to play that role, they needed him and he needed them. They successfully completed it. Without them, it could not be possible for Satan to deceive the whole world. It is impossible for Satan to deceive the whole world without them. And what's so powerful about it? It sits right in the beginning, where he said, your seed and my seed. Satan didn't have the power over seed, only the Most High. Satan didn't have a power over the two books in the kingdom. Satan don't have the power over the two books that's in the kingdom. Before the earth was created, there were two books in the kingdom. Like unto the lamb slaughtered before the foundation of the world, so were there two books after the lamb was slaughtered. And it was called the Lamb Book of Life. And then we had the book of those that are written for the lake of fire. Those two were already in the kingdom before Satan came to the earth. So heavens had it all sealed. The lake of fire and those who are written, that's past tense, and those that are eternal heaven kingdom is written, it's finished. So now let's create the earth. This is why the hate was needed to separate Cain from Abel. This is why the hate was needed to separate Ishmael from Isaac. The Father in the kingdom have always did great work on separating one from the other. Why? Because he knows what one stands for, because he came down here to stand for this. He knows what the other one came down. They came down here to stand for this. Satan just excited that he got those that's coming down and came down in the man's womb to stand for him. It's called living flesh. Came to work with Satan. All Satan needed was to deceive the whole world, and his mission has been completed. But there's that entity that came down here before heaven and earth was created, that was already put into the lake of fire, the book to the lake of fire. That was down here. And that's what you see when you see the all-seeing eye. How it's impossible for a handful of people, and I mean a handful is going beyond just 12. I mean 10. Just a handful. When speaking of a short number, that can control this whole world like this. Satan is just wanting to deceive the world. Who is this wanting to do all this other stuff? Who is this? Who is these pedophiles? Who is these people that use organ porting organs, taking organs? Who is these people who's raping babies, who's taking children's bodies and eating them and mixing them with stuff for power? Who is all these things? Who is all this here that's down on the earth doing all this? Who has robbed and destroyed a country based on how they have ruled it? Who has set up to worship darkness? Satan just come down to deceive. Well, who is this doing this? Principalities, y'all, in high places. They have high power. And they're assisting man. And man is assisting the darkness. And both of them are still yet the seeds that was given to Satan. That's how heavy it is on the earth. The biggest thing is being deceived, because everybody is living and dying, coming to the earth, being deceived, dying off the earth, being deceived. So Satan's his mission has fully been successful. But there's an entity, y'all, outside of Satan. Are they his seeds? Yes. They do work beyond Satan. Satan's job was to deceive. It's just like me. If I'm called to be a prophetess and the Holy Spirit is in me, I'll be all that he has called me from the level of the purpose of what he has called me to be. If he's in me and he's teaching me things, then he wants me to speak on things and teach things. But the key to it is this. This thing that on the dark side is beyond darkness. It's beyond evil. It's beyond wickedness. Being a prophet in the wilderness, I can see it. And I just can't pinpoint. I'm grateful that he showed me the all-eye seeing. That's how powerful this entity is. You see? And it has won the whole world over. It's an entity. Satan has been able to be successful in deceiving the whole world through all of these entities who have reasoned with each other to gain all the power of the darkness. They tapping in all of it. And they have since the beginning of time. And since it's been all this time, that's how Satan deceived. His position has been won. He has been able to deceive the whole world. The world don't believe that the true Jews are scattered on the four corners. They believe they over there in Israel. Everything's showing them that that's not them. But look at how the world is deceived by Satan to get everyone to say that they are, even though everything shows that they're not. That's how powerful it is, y'all. Everything shows that they are not the real Jews. But do you think anybody? No, because the power, they're using their power to kill people right now, to destroy people, to keep them from opening their mouth when they think that it's going to affect who they are. This is one lady, Candace Owens. She just don't know. I don't care how much money your husband got. It ain't gonna save you. Because you don't have a shield. None whatsoever. You serve their neighbors, which is in the pyramid, the Roman Catholic. She's proudly says she's a Catholic. Only one can run around here and say they are the Catholics, or those that are in the pyramid and don't know the Catholics is the starter up of it all. So Sister Deborah, I hope you got something out of it. But to find out that it's greater than Satan himself, because he came down to deceive. Who is doing all this wickedness? It's his seeds, but it's the seeds that are in men that the whole world would fully deny. And I'm not talking about this nation and not this nation. Men. I, Sister Deborah, say to you all, I am grateful for the Most High Yah being the light to those who are in light and walking therein. I, Sister Deborah, will be back at 7 p.m. Central Time, and let's talk about it. But this time, I want to hear questions about this topic. So I, Sister Deborah, says, Shalom and Shalom.